Hello and welcome. My name's Heather. I'm a registered professional counselor, and today I'm going to be watching Selling Sunset Season 5, so let's dive in.
Amanza said, I'm trying really hard to be liked by everyone or something like that. And then Emma was like, why would you be friends with someone that says that about you? How convenient.
So Davina is trying to clear the air or get clarification from Christine around the comment she heard from Amanza, and Christine has told multiple people the same thing, which is that Davina just wants to be liked or it's important for her to be accepted. She said that to Amanza, and she's also said that to Chelsea too. Now Christine didn't have to say this. I'm guessing the reason why she would have said something like this is because she feels betrayed by Davina. And hello. That's my thumb. She feels that Davina doesn't have her back, or she feels that Davina is a sellout because now she wants to be liked by the other girls, or she wants to get along with the other girls. And so maybe this is Christine's way of lashing out at her. So when we're younger, we tend to see things in very black or white terms. We lack the ability to see any gray areas because it's much simpler when things are black and white. And that's why stories like good versus evil appeals to so many younger audiences and, also to adults because, again, it's much simpler to view people as either the heroes or the villains. And when we grow up, these views become a foundational way of how we view the world around us, right? So either things are good or things are bad. People are evil or people are good, or things are black or things are white. And so for people who might have experienced chronic trauma or abandonment or betrayal, if they feel or detect any inkling of betrayal, it will feel 100 times painful or hurtful to them, and therefore it will reflect their anger or the way that they will lash out to the other person. Even though the betrayal might be very small, or it wasn't really a betrayal at all to them because they haven't resolved or worked through their past traumas, again, they'll view it as being 100 times worse than it actually is and 100 times more painful, and therefore it can explain why they might go from, 0 to 100, or they might suddenly turn against their friend if they feel that they've been betrayed or there's no loyalty there. So this can help explain what Christine might be going through, or someone in Christine's shoes might be going through, but it's not to justify what they've done in the past or to justify the things that they've said or the hurt that they've caused, but it's just so we can have some context to what might be going on for them, and context can give us more understanding to the situation. Just a reminder that everything I'm saying is a complete speculation. I'm not here to diagnose the participants. That is unethical. I don't know them personally. This is not a counseling session. The purpose of these videos is to use the events from the show to be able to talk about psychology concepts in general, relationship dynamics, and also how we can improve our communication skills.
I assure you that, I didn't say it to Amanza in that tone whatsoever at all. I even asked her what was the tone. And she was like, well, I feel like Christine only has one tone.
So Christine does realize that she was filmed when she had this conversation with Amanza, so Davina later on could just see exactly the tone that she had. I mean, maybe it wasn't her intention to spin it in that way, but again, she said it to multiple people, so how could she have said it in a different tone? And I feel that in the tone that she had with Chelsea, it was definitely in a way to try to put Davina down or to make people judge her character as wanting to be liked. And since Davina really wanted to change and get along with the other girls, Christine views it as a sense of weakness, which of course it's definitely not a sense of weakness. People can change their behaviors. And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get along with your coworkers or wanting to be friends with them, especially if you realize in the past, maybe the way that you've come across or things that you've said was hurtful to them and you want to change that behavior. I think for Christine, she takes it personally because she feels that, oh, Davina's changed? Oh, great. Now I'm the only one left and I don't want to change. I don't have anyone on my side. And therefore I'm going to recruit Chelsea to come into the group, and therefore I'll have an ally.
How did it even come up? Like, what was the point of even saying that? I was just saying she's in a really difficult position, Yeah, being your friend is hard. No, I was just saying she's in a really difficult position.
And Davina wants more clarity as to why Christine said that in the first place. And Christine is trying to spin it in a way in which the conversation was completely different. Now, maybe it was different and maybe they, through editing, they took out all the parts about her saying Davina was in a difficult position or whatnot, but it doesn't explain the fact that Christine did say those exact words. And she's essentially trying to deflect and blame Amanza for telling Davina that she got it wrong, or she misinterpreted it, or she's making a big deal out of nothing. We saw from the earlier episode that it was exactly Christine's tone of voice and what she meant by it, and the fact that she was trying to attack Davina or say something mean about her. Like, there's very little other way to interpret what she said. Before I forget, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to help support this channel.
I really am getting along with people, and I think you can too.
I mean, I'm the one that's getting along with everyone. That's the problem. They're the ones who have been icing me out. I don't talk to them. That's the problem, you know. And when I do, they just ignore me.
So in Christine's mind, she feels that the other girls are the one to blame and that she's doing everything she can to be in a good relationship with them. And they're the ones not talking to her or ignoring her. And we see from Davina's face that she's shocked to hear that this is Christine's interpretation of the situation and that she doesn't entirely believe what Christine is saying.
So maybe you could send the message to your friends and just tell them it would be nice if they could be nice to me when they saw me.
And Christine essentially wants the other girls to acknowledge her, and it sounds like she wants them to just put on a smile and just be cordial with her. But I don't think she fully understands that because of the things she said about them in the past and the way that she's treated them, it's difficult for them to be able to move past all that because nothing got resolved. She hasn't apologized. She hasn't really taken ownership or responsibility for her actions. And it sounds like as of recent, she still continues to say certain things that are hurtful to them. Now, earlier she had a conversation with Chelsea about these types of jokes or these types of comments that she has, and I didn't really show my reaction to it, but I'll talk about it here. And essentially Christine was saying that it's just her sense of humor, or things are taken out of context when it goes out into the articles, and that could potentially be true. You know, maybe articles do cut down certain parts of the interview and they just like to take snippets because it makes for good entertainment. Essentially, her and Chelsea were just saying that all the other girls were really sensitive. You know what? It's okay if they are sensitive. It's okay if they set boundaries to say that, hey, I don't want these types of jokes. Can you not say them about me? They are hurtful to me. She needs to really respect that and realize like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can make these jokes about myself, or maybe I'll make them about Chelsea because it seems like she has a similar sense of humor and maybe she's okay with these types of jokes if I say these things about her.
You're my friend and I defend you, but then when someone like Amanza tells me that you're saying stuff about me, then it's like,
it is what it is. It's fine. Whatever.
it just makes me sad. Why would you say that?
So Davina is clearly upset by what Christine said, and she's trying to be open and vulnerable by saying, you know, it makes me feel sad. She's experiencing hurt and betrayal from a close friend, and she doesn't understand why a friend would betray her like this or would, I guess, turn against her like this. And it would also make sense if she was also feeling a bit confused as well, because she's seen Christine's actions towards the other girls, and for her to realize like, oh, why would she turn against me also, can be extremely, extremely painful. And she's trying her best to explain that to Christine by using more vulnerable language, by saying, I feel sad. And this would have been a good opportunity for Christine to really realize that her words can hurt others, especially someone who she says is her friend. I mean, that is if she wants to continue to have a friendship with Davina. I mean, obviously she doesn't need to change, but there's consequences to her words. And if she's not able to really see that or accept that and make changes to keep certain friendships or keep certain relationships, it's going to be hard for her to have that type of close friendship with anyone.
You're surprised that she told you, but I told you this before.
No, I didn't. I really didn't expect you to have said that. I was hurt and disappointed.
She's not even acknowledging the fact that Davina is hurt by it, and she can't even apologize for that or take ownership for that. It's an opportunity that's been missed for Christine, or someone who may react like Christine may have difficulties dealing with those vulnerable emotions. I think up until this point we haven't really seen Christine be vulnerable, and maybe it's her relationship with those more unpleasant or intense feelings. So it's possible that she doesn't have that level of emotional intelligence to be able to process these more intense or uncomfortable feelings, and it's easier to try to use tactics such as deflecting or rejection or defending herself to try to steer the conversation away from those vulnerable feelings and to get Davina to essentially either get defensive or get mad, because it's much easier to deal with that than those more vulnerable feelings. And a lot of people don't really know how to deal with these vulnerable feelings, or seeing someone in front of you hurt or upset, and we don't really know how to react to that or respond to that. And so we either try to cheer them up, or we try to make them laugh, or we try to distract them and get them to focus on something else. So maybe this is also something that Christine is trying to do. So I know a lot of people out there might think that what Christine is saying to Davina is gaslighting. I'm here to tell you that it is not gaslighting. I haven't seen anyone on this show or any reality TV show actually gaslighting. So typically when people use the term gaslighting, it's not accurate and it doesn't reflect the actual clinical definition. Gaslighting is a premeditative tactic to get someone to question their own judgment or question their own reality over a long period of time. If you want to learn more about what gaslighting is and what it's not, I do go more in depth about it in a separate video. You can watch it up here. So probably more accurate words to describe what Christine is doing, or what gaslighting generally is used now, is lying or deflecting or not taking responsibility. So that's essentially what I see from Christine. She's definitely not gaslighting Davina.
Don't say that
Talk
about
to me
me.
aside.
Don't do it.
I mean, Amanza shouldn't have, disclosed.
Right, but you shouldn't have said it. And then that's the end of that.
And Christine is also trying to blame Amanza for bringing up the conversation to Davina. She feels that Davina didn't need to know any of this, even though it's been filmed, and Davina will probably see it on Netflix, that Christine has said this to multiple people. So it's not Amanza's fault for bringing it up to Davina. And we see that Davina is trying to set a clear boundary to Christine by saying, I don't want you to say these things about me anymore. And, there's absolutely no reason for you to be saying these things, especially since I've been the one defending you and I'm your friend. I don't know if Christine will really listen or respect Davina's boundary. I mean, I really hope that she does, but it seems like from past behaviors that, it's possible that she's going to maybe say something else that's really going to hurt Davina's feelings. I think that Davina did a really good job just trying to set her boundaries. It might be helpful for Davina to let Christine know what would happen if she were to cross that boundary again, right? So letting her know what the consequences would be. So stating very clearly what would happen. So maybe she won't be friends with her anymore, or she won't talk to her anymore. And then that way Christine can understand the consequences of her actions. Now, I don't know if that would necessarily stop Christine from crossing that boundary, but at least for Davina, she would have that peace of mind and make that boundary clear for herself so she can follow through if she chooses with those consequences. So if Christine were to cross her boundary again or say these comments again in the future, Davina understands clearly what her next steps are, and then that way she can essentially protect herself from having a friend who doesn't respect her boundaries, and says mean things about her to other people. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more analysis videos like this. In the meantime, feel free to check out my other therapist reviews videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, be kind and love yourself.